Hi, I'm Angela and welcome to my channel Befriend and Tend. Today I'm going to talk about journaling for self-awareness. Self-awareness is having clarity about who you are, your strengths and your weaknesses. It's understanding what drives you, your values, your ideas, your thoughts, your feelings, your hopes and your dreams. And it's also having a really good handle on what energizes you and depletes you. And the reason you want to be self-aware is because it's really good to not be a mystery to yourself. Self-awareness gives you power over yourself by empowering you to make better and more optimal decisions and choices. It allows you to identify what's troubling you and to resolve it in a more healthy and practical way, and you're better able to follow your own dreams. I think it's Steve Jobs who talks about how one of the greatest crimes or tragedies is when people end up living someone else's life. When you're constantly checking in with yourself and reaffirming your values, it helps you make decisions that are more in line with those values and with the things that you want to accomplish. And self-awareness also helps you be a better friend to yourself and to live your life with a little more ease and joy. Okay, so maybe you're thinking this sounds good and you're wondering how journaling can help you come into more self-awareness. And I think the number one thing is that journaling allows you to stop and reflect. It is so easy to go through life sort of zooming from one thing to another, to another, to another, and then you look back on the past 3 months and you don't really remember it and you're not really making sense or processing everything that happens. Whereas when you slow down and journal, write down the good things and reflect on them and reflect on your role in making those good things happen, and then also reflecting on the uncomfortable or bad things that happen and seeing how you might handle it differently next time. And it's great to do it in a journal because then you can look back on it and then you can see patterns over time, and those can be really helpful too. The second thing that's necessary is to be really honest in your journal and to be open and curious. I know sometimes people journal because they're thinking about recording their life for future generations or something, and that's fine. But if you're filtering and censoring and not letting truth live in your journal, like all the truth, not just the pretty parts of truth, but even the uncomfortable and hard and painful parts, it's not going to be as useful a tool for self-reflection. And this leads into my next strategy for journaling for self-awareness, which is to process challenging and tough situations, emotions, and feelings. So that first pass, when you're just sort of spilling everything out, that can be really cathartic, and it's sort of like frees your brain for the rest of your life when you get all of these thoughts that are spinning around in your head and you get them all down on paper. But the real value comes in going back when you're in a calmer, more resourced and calm state of mind. When I go back and reflect on it, I tend to be a little more curious about what I'm saying. Like, is there another way to look at this? Is there another way to perceive this? Did I have other choices? What can I learn from this? And I will say, like, I know there is this tendency for confirmation bias. Like, if I had done this when I was in high school battling an eating disorder, like everything anyone said was sort of like I would have written that it was a lesson that I was just too fat. So I think what might have helped me then is to think of the wisest, most loving and kind person in the world and imagine what they might tell me I should be learning from this situation. And another thing I like to do when I'm going back and reflecting is looking back on what are other ways I could have handled this, or other ways that this situation could have gone down. And I find that really helpful, that when I come up with a bunch of different ideas about how this thing might have played out, I can pick and choose the ones that play to my strengths and then try them out the next time and see what happens. I mean, it is sort of an iterative process. If you keep doing the same thing, you usually get the same result. So learning to tinker with your own reactions and responses and seeing if things change can be really, really helpful. Another way to journal for self-awareness is to use a series of specific prompts, journal prompts, that are related to an area in your life that you want to pay more attention to. There are often points in our life when we wonder, what next? What's our purpose? What are we intended to do? So exploring that through a series of journal prompts can really help uncover some actionable insights that can guide you moving forward. And there are lots of areas of life that you can apply this strategy of using journal prompts to uncover deeper truths. Like you could try journaling about work, your employment goals, or you could try journaling about your relationships. I mean, anything that you can think of that you want to work on, if you just hit my friend Google, you will come up with hundreds of possible journal prompts to use. And another way to journal for self-awareness is to just choose random journal prompts that appeal to you. I know a lot of the lists of journal prompts can seem sort of recycled, but sometimes they might trigger a better prompt in your mind that's more tailored to your situation. And I also think that prompts that seem really unexpected are good to try out too, because you can sort of maybe loosen up some different synapses in your brain as you work through the journal prompt. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video.